Moving on to the next session. The next lecture is by Mrs. Ranjitha Shetty. She'll be briefing us about the abroad opportunities for dental students and studying in abroad. And for the moderation, it is Dr. K. Rajkumar sir, who is a professor at SRM Dental College, Ramapuram. Sir completed his post-graduation in 1999 and had a teaching experience of 23 years. Sir has to his credit 25 international and national publications. Sir has conceptualized and organized many CDE programs and conferences, one amongst them being Pulp 22 itself. Dr. Rajkumar sir has been awarded the Masterclass Award by CET. He is an active member of IACDE, IES, and ISPRP. Sir, requesting you to introduce the speaker.
Good morning, one and all. Thank you, Smithina, for those wonderful words. This is, welcome, Mrs. Ranjitha Shetty, to this program. My acquaintance with IDP has been there for past 3 years, and I've been known Mr. Rajesh and one Mr. Akshaya for quite some time. And I've been discussing with them on various universities abroad to guide a few of my students who have settled in Canada as of now. They have got admissions and they are in the process of doing their dental public health dentistry or something like that. Okay, and now over to your CV. I just found that CV itself would have taken an hour of presentation, but we have concised the your curriculum vitae. Yeah, the topic Mrs. Ranjitha Shetty will be speaking on will be study abroad opportunities for dental students. Mrs. Shetty is the manager and senior education counselor working for IDP Education Private Limited. By the way, IDP stands for International Development Program Education Private Limited and is one of the leading overseas education consultant with over 5 lakh successful placement to quality institutes in Australia, United Kingdom, USA, Canada, and New Zealand. IDP partners with over 700 leading education institutions and has a widespread network. Mrs. Shetty acts like a bridge in between the educational institutes in various countries like UK, Ireland, UAE, and Singapore, and the enthusiastic students who wish to pursue higher education abroad. She works with numerous esteemed universities. She advises her students to identify and apply for the universities based on their eligibilities, priorities, and preferences. She constantly supports the students through their application process. Mrs. Shetty is a recipient of numerous awards for meeting milestones in the company. She was upgraded as a senior education counselor after being part of the organization for past 1 year. Her contribution to the company itself is an asset. Over to you, Mrs. Shetty.
Yes, thank you for this wonderful introduction, sir. Yes. Right, my voice is audible?
Very much.
Right. You'd have to excuse me a little bit because I've got a bad cold and my voice probably could break in between. So apologies right in the beginning. So sir, can I go ahead and share my screen and then take it through?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yeah, it is. Good.
Just give me one small minute. Good morning, students. Yes, a warm welcome to all of you. I'm sure each one of you is inquisitive to know about the processes and what happens and what are the opportunities you have in countries abroad. So I'm going to quickly run through a couple of elements today, which kind of will brief you better and will also give you a little bit of an insight about what these destinations have to offer and how you can actually proceed with these opportunities, right? What we'll do is we'll park the questions towards the end of the session. So at any point, if you have any questions, we can then take those questions later on. So I'll quickly run through the slide. And if there are any challenges through the slides, please do let me know so that I can then, quickly make the changes and amendments. So the agenda for today is going to be going to talk to you a little bit about benefits about studying abroad. What are the steps you need to take as to how you need to take it from here on? How is important for you to select the right course? What are the requirements? What are the prerequisites, etc.? What is an English language test and why is it important? What are the scholarship opportunities available in these countries abroad? And a broader overview about each of these destinations. So what I've done today is I've picked up destinations which do cater to your area of interest, courses related to dentistry. So as an organization, we do represent 6 study destinations, but today we are going to talk about the destinations which only offer courses related to your interest. Okay, so moving on. Let me start with the first element of the conversation. Why should you look at studying abroad? Why should you opt to pursue your qualification in a country abroad? And why should you take it from there? A lot of reasons, if you can ask me, I would probably say the first primary reason would be starting your career off on the right foot. Graduates who choose to study internationally are highly sought after by employers. Pursuing a degree overseas signals to employers that you have the courage, flexibility, cultural awareness, and an understanding of how other people work and think. This will really put you ahead of the pack when it comes to, job applications, small internships. So this is an important element. From learning a language to living a language. We've seen out of the researches which we do that studies have shown that being surrounded by a language is the best way to become fluent and to understand the local culture. So you will be surrounded by people who speak the language, of course, English, seeing and hearing the local language in the local context. So of course, it's going to kind of help you kind of imbibe yourself in a multicultural environment, international exposure, global diversity, and all these are elements of why you should look at studying abroad. Living and studying and working in English can be challenging at first, but you'd automatically adapt to it and it becomes second to nature. Communicating confidently in English will help you excel in studies and will also help you build professional connections down the lane. You have a diverse range of options. There are a myriad of courses available. Expanding your options to consider overseas study opens up a world of new educational opportunities. IDP partners with 700 plus educational institutions across the globe, and this gives you an opportunity to choose the right university, the right course, depending on the quality of the university. It could be a high-ranked university. So we help you find the best fit. So we officially represent universities in countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, USA, and Ireland. So the culture or probably the learning would probably be different in each of these study destinations. So there are diverse teaching styles. Some courses and modules may be traditionally classroom based, but others might require a lot of, teamwork and team effort. So then there is going to be a way of learning in each of these countries. It will help you grow personally and develop professionally. Students who study overseas return to their home country well-informed, with much less biased perspective towards cultures and people. Whether you're studying any particular course, be it a science course or a medicine course or a dentistry course, you probably will be able to get a multinational perspective, which will also help you face modern challenges and come up with innovative solutions. So as an international student, you will graduate with a more diverse set of experiences when compared to the domestic students here in India. Stories to last a lifetime. Your international study experience does not end at the campus gates. During your weekends, your holidays, you have a chance to travel to tourist locations, explore these countries. Most of the times we have students who take up backpack and then just go during their vacation times. Probably there's a break during Easter, there's a break during Christmas. So all these are small memories you gather. And maybe one day in future, you'll probably be able to give an advice to your siblings or, probably friends about your study abroad experiences. So these are a few reasons why you should probably consider looking at studying abroad. As an organization, like I said, we officially represent 6 study destinations: Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, and USA. IDP, we are the global leaders in international education, and we've been in the industry over 50 plus years. So when we're talking about assisting you or advising you on your opportunities to study abroad, most of the times, this is unbiased advice. We have counselors dedicated for each of these study destinations who advise you on the course opportunities available in these respective destinations, help you with the application process to these institutions, advise you on accommodation, scholarships, and of course, your visa formalities. We don't charge you for our services, so there's no service charge involved unless it's a destination like the United States, because we officially represent these universities in these countries. So because we already have a representation with these universities, we don't believe in charging students. So all the services which we provide here are absolutely free of charge. We have a strong offline and an online presence. If you want to look up online, you can go on to YouTube, you can go on to Twitter, you can go on to Insta. There's a lot of content available about the study destination options. We do a lot of talk shows with industry experts, university representatives, which who gives us insights about these destinations, which you can look through before you take this forward. On the whole, just to talk about our organization, yes, of course, we've been, we are well known. I totally agree to that point. But for us, the customer experience, the student experience is the primemost point of interest. Making sure that the student has got the right choice, the right university, and making sure that he or she is settled in that study destination is very, very important. And this is something which is a message which is passed on from the CEOs from the top management to a respective counselor. So that's important for us. So believe me, if you're choosing IDP as your study abroad counselor or a study abroad consultant, you will not regret. The options to study abroad, I'm sure you have a lot of questions as to why you want to look at studying abroad. First of all, are you eligible? Are you eligible to study abroad? What should I consider when I'm choosing to study abroad? What are the things I have to factor in before I actually take this step forward? Will study abroad help me find a good job? I'm sure all of us are looking at an ROI, and we're looking at a return to whatever we've actually invested on. So yes, will this take me to the next level? Can I work and study at the same time? Can I work part-time and study at the same time? How much will it cost? What is my cost factor? Is it going to be feasible enough? Is the expense going to fit in my budget? That's something which you also wonder. Will my overseas qualification be accepted in my home country? Yes, of course, I'm studying abroad. I'm doing this qualification, a master's course, but will this qualification be accepted across the globe and also in my home country? Okay. And what if I cannot afford study overseas? So if there are any scholarships these countries offer, if I can explore those scholarship opportunities, and how long the application process is going to take. What is the time frame of a decision from the university? What is the time frame of the student visa? So how long is that whole process going to take? I'm sure you have a lot of these questions. So we at IDP here are available to actually answer those questions for you. To start on with, to talk about steps to study abroad, as a student, it's very important for you to identify the right study destination. Believe me, it's very good for you to explore different countries and don't rely on one study destination as a preference, because what happens then is you're then exploring all choices, you're understanding what are the prerequisites of each of those countries and finding out which fits in your bill. Never choose one study destination as your preference. Make sure that you have at least 2 or 3 destinations as your preferences, because then it also gives you an idea to kind of judge which could probably be a better. And instead of actually putting all your eggs in one basket, you can then shift them around, because then you never know what options or what opportunities you will get in the other study destinations. Choosing the right course and university is very, very important. Once you've chosen the right course and the university, you need to work on your application documentation. You need to apply to these institutions. So each of these study destinations have a different process of applications. Some might say, yes, you can courier the documents to the university. Some might say you have to submit the application online. Some might just say that you can just upload documents. So there are different processes for different study destinations. So you need to understand what are the application processes for those study destinations. Once you've received your decisions from the university, what are the conditions of offer acceptance? What these universities do require when you're accepting the offer? If there are other prerequisites they want you to fulfill, if there are other examinations they want you to take before you accept the offer. So those are a few things you also have to think about. Visa counseling, that's also something which you have to then undergo, where a counselor then sits with you and gives you a complete visa counseling for that study destination. Each of these study destinations have different visa norms, have different visa requirements, how the funding needs to be shown, what are the documents required to be submitted. So when you sit with a counselor, she is well trained about how the visa process works for that particular study destination. So she gives you a visa counseling. And yes, of course, pre-departure orientation. So before you travel to the study destination, we also kind of advise you on what are the checklist documents you need to carry, how you need to prepare yourself, how you need to face the cultural shock when you reach the study destination, and if there are any mandate documents and tests you need to do before you travel to the study destination. So as an organization, this is the gist of the services which we provide, okay? And this is when I'm talking about, we have dedicated counselors for each of these study destinations who give you unbiased advice about that particular destination only. So we don't kind of differentiate that, yes, of course, you can look at this university or you can choose only this university. We officially represent most of the universities in these countries. So believe me, when they're giving you the choice of universities, like I said, it's going to be an unbiased advice, which is going to be provided. And this is the little bit of services which we provide as an organization. Apart from this, we also have the student essential services. When you're talking about student essential services for countries like Australia, you require a student health cover, which is something which we also offer as an organization. Finding accommodation in the study destination. So if you are looking at accommodation, if you don't want to opt for a university accommodation and you want to look at other choices of accommodation, yes, we have a partner institute which helps you with accommodation. Most of the times you also require advice to open a bank account in these study destinations once you reach there. So we have support services which advise you on how to open a bank account and provide you those bit of information. The money transfer security is important because when you're transferring your tuition fees to the university, you transfer it through various modes. So there is various modes like Flywire, Western Union. So we partner with these service providers, which also kind of, provide you better rates when you're transferring funds to the institution as your tuition fees. So apart from what we do normally, these are the additional services we provide for few of these study destinations. As an organization, we also introduced our IDP live app, which I'm just going to tell you a little about. So we decided to be a step closer to students. So we launched the IDP Live app almost 8 months back, where as a student, you can download the app on an Android phone or an Apple phone and browse courses based on your interest. You can then also track the status of your applications which you have submitted through IDP. So that's like a step closer so that we then interact with you better. There's a lot of videos which is available on the IDP Live app with destination experts, which gives you insights about the destination. So that's one of the newest things which we have launched. We've also launched an offer in principle, which is one of our newest platforms for destinations like Australia and UK. As a student, you probably would want to know if you're eligible for a particular course or university before submitting a formal application. I'm sure you want to know before you go through the whole process if I am eligible for the university and the course. So that's the reason why we brought in the offer in principle, where you can then put in your academic credentials and get a decision instantly if you are eligible for the university and the course. And if you do manage to get an offer in principle, which is an informal offer, you can then be guaranteed that when you put in a formal application form, the course and the application will automatically be accepted by the institution. So this is one of our pilot projects, which we've just started for Australia and United Kingdom for a listed courses, not all courses, believe me, for you listed courses. But then this is something which is working out really well for us because a lot of you are a little confused. Should I apply to this institution? Am I eligible to this institution? So with the offer in principle platform, it's bringing you a step closer and giving you that assurance and guarantee that, yes, you would be made an offer by receiving an informal offer beforehand. The organization has a widespread network also. If you look at, we have 120 offices across 30 countries across the globe. And the ones which are marked in blue are all the destination countries which we represent universities. And the ones which we mark in green are the source countries. Now, we also have a widespread network in India. We have 44 physical offices across India and 23 omni-channel offices, which are virtual offices. Believe me, the advice and the service which IDP offers is pretty much centralized. So even if you're moving out of Chennai and you're moving to another city, maybe it could be Calcutta or it probably could be Delhi or Mumbai, there is an IDP office in these states, and the service and the advice provided is pretty much customized and standardized for all our students. So the first aspect of the whole conversation is going to be selecting the right course and the institution. So you will have a lot of choices in mind. You will want to know that, yes, of course, I'm looking at these options. So as an organization, we officially represent universities, like I said, in these study destinations. So in the UK, we represent 95 plus universities, Canada, 70 plus institutions. New Zealand and Ireland, we pretty much represent all the all the universities. Likewise, Australia, we represent all the universities in Australia. Most of these institutions are also, Russell Group universities or GOH universities. So top universities in these study destinations. Before you choose institutions or before you choose a particular university and course, there are a few elements you always have to think about. Make sure you choose a course because it's your area of interest, because it is a personal interest to you. We get a lot of times where students walk up to us and tell us that I want to choose this course because somebody suggested me this option, or somebody suggested probably this course is very popular, or probably this course is something which my friend wants to do. Believe me, that is not one of your reasons why you choose a course for yourself. There is a lot of time invested. There is a lot of money invested. So choosing a course based on your interest is very, very important. The course should take you to the next level. So it should improve your, it should probably, help you climb up the career ladder. So it should improve opportunities. It should get you better career opportunities. That's very, very important. It should improve your skills. It cannot be a stagnant course, whatever you've currently done. It should be a higher up course. So those are elements which you have to think about before you choose a course. So selecting a course is how you look at, choosing the modules relevant to whatever your interest is. So as a student, you also need to take a little bit of an interest when a counselor shares the course list, when the counselor is suggesting your course option. You also will have to take a little bit of an interest for yourself to understand if this is what you would like to do. Your financial ability, if the course is, going to be feasible enough for you. Feasible enough for you would mean that what is the budget factor? What is my tuition fees? What is my living expenses? There's no point in wondering about if the course is going to kind of be worth it if you've already applied and if you do not manage to work it out. So before you apply to the course, make sure that you understand what your fee factor is, what is your living expenses for that particular destination, and then apply to these institutions. I just want to share a few tips before you actually look at your options to study abroad. Make sure you submit proper documentation. When I'm talking about proper documentation, your academic documents, your reference letters, they all have to be submitted in proper formats. Please write your own personal statement. Each of these study destinations will require a personal statement, which is an important basis of an application process. Check out if they require any other tests, if there's requirement of an English language test or any other test is required for your particular course. Figure that out before you apply to these institutions, and make sure that you apply well in advance. Don't wait till the nick of the moment to apply to these institutions. Each of these institutions have different course start dates. So make sure that you give a good time frame before you start your whole process of applying to these institutions. So the documentation would probably be your academic paperwork, your mark sheets. You might require to submit letter of recommendations from your professors or lecturers who've taught you a subject. You might submit your resume, a personal statement, and yes, of course, these institutions might require a test score, an English language score. So that is also something which you might have to submit. These countries, a few of these countries have an application fee. So if they have an application fee, which is for the application process that goes directly to the institution. So that's one of their process strategy where they require an application fee to be submitted to make a decision on your application. So that's a mandatory requirement for certain of these destinations and a few universities. So like I said, each of these study destinations have courses which start in a particular time frame. Like for example, Australia has only 2 intakes in a year. They have courses which start, 3. So they have courses which start in January, February. They have courses which start in July, and they have a few courses which start in November. So they primarily run all their courses for Jan, Feb, and July. USA has an intake in spring, summer, and fall, but their primary intake is fall, which is September. UK has spring, summer, and fall intake, but their primary intake is September. When I'm telling you it's a primary intake, it would mean that they run all courses for that particular intake. So for the spring and the summer intake, they decide. The universities come back to us and say that, okay, we are only going to run 15 courses or 20 courses. So that kind of puts us in a hitch where maybe the choice of your area might not be available for a spring or a summer intake. New Zealand offers January and July. Canada offers courses in January, May, and September, and their primary intake is all three. So Canada is predominantly courses offered across the board. So all these three intakes are primary. So then there's no one particular intake which is important. Ireland has a spring intake and a fall intake, which is in September, but their primary intake is in September. So if these courses start in September, plan at least a year ahead, if you ask me, because there are a lot of prerequisites you need to fulfill. There is a lot of documentation you need to work on. There's a lot of paperwork you need to work on. So please plan at least 8 months to 12 months ahead of time to kind of make sure that it's a very smooth process for you. The duration of the courses will vary depending on the study destinations. So if you're looking at a master's qualification for countries like New Zealand, Australia, the duration is 1 to 2 years. Countries like USA, of course, is going to be for a period of 2 years. Countries like UK, Ireland, and Canada, the duration of the course could be for a year or sometimes could be for 2 years, but it's predominantly for a year or 2 years for most of the countries, the master's qualification. If you're looking at the costing factor as what is the budget factor going to be, this is only going to be your tuition fees and your living expenses. That is your expense factor. Tuition fees is a set figure which you pay to the university at some point or the other. The living expenses is something which you show in your account when you apply for your student visa. So unlike a few study destinations does not get paid anywhere, it's just to be shown in the account so that the embassies or the high commissions are well convinced that you have money to cover your expenses when you stay there in that study destination. So the tuition fees will vary. So if it's a 1-year course, this is a rough estimate for a 1-year course. So if it's a 1-year course, that's the budgeting factor, maybe, 10-20 lakhs for a year or probably 20 to 25 lakhs for a year. So if it's 2 years, it's twice the amount. The living expenses is calculated here only for a duration of 12 months. So if it's going to be for 2 years, it's twice the amount. Most of these study destinations allow you to stay back in these destinations after having completed their course, and they offer you a post-study work visa opportunity. When I'm talking about post-study work visa opportunity, it is an opportunity for you to stay back in these destinations to look out for opportunities to work. So Australia offers you a 2-year post-study work opportunity, which is for their master's qualification. And the research courses have now increased to almost 6 years. USA offers a 12 months, or a 24 months for certain of these courses. UK offers a standard 2 years. Likewise, Ireland also, and for that matter, New Zealand offers a 1 to 3 year post-study work visa. I'm sure you're wondering that, do you need a job when you're applying for a post-study work visa? No. They are giving you an opportunity to stay back in that study destination to find a job for yourself. So they're giving you a breather after having completed your master's qualification to stay back and look out for opportunities. So it's ample time in most of these study destinations. And believe me, if you do not manage to find something in this time frame, it's going to be absolutely difficult for you otherwise at all. So all these study destinations have brought in the post-study work visa, which is a good opportunity for all international students. Again, which also gives you an assurance that, yes, of course, I don't have to come back immediately after I can still look out for opportunities to work in that time frame. You're allowed to work part-time when you're studying there in most of these countries. So as an international student, you're allowed to work part-time for 20 hours per week. That's during your term time and 40 hours during vacation time. So when I'm talking about part-time job, I'm talking about blue-collar jobs, working in working in the retail industry, working in the hospitality industry, these kind of jobs. So basically, your pay package probably is going to be hourly. So depending on each of these study destinations, you can manage to earn up to 40% of your living expenses by working part-time. If you should work part-time or no, totally depends on you as an individual. But believe me, to gain a little bit of an experience, to understand how people work and to understand or to kind of, adapt to that culture, it's very good for you to gain that experience. Maybe not for the total time frame, but at least to gain that experience, do manage to work part-time is what I normally suggest most of our students. These countries will also have an English language requirement. So when I'm talking about an English language requirement, it is an IELTS or a TOEFL or a PT examination, which is acceptable. So most of these countries will require you to take either an IELTS or a TOEFL. Now, these English language tests are absolutely mandatory for a few study destinations like Australia, Ireland, and Canada, because these are visa prerequisites. For that matter, New Zealand too. So when I'm talking about visa prerequisites, you cannot apply for a student visa without an English language score. So that becomes a mandate for you to take an English language test for these countries. So what is an English language test? The TOEFL or the IELTS are probably one of the top most English language tests we are talking about. So there are universities, there are colleges, there are institutes which accept both the TOEFL and the IELTS. Certain of these study destinations might only accept the IELTS and might not accept the TOEFL. But it's, like I said, it's one of the mandate for most of these countries as an immigration process. So you would require to take the test. We are the co-owners for the English language testing system. IELTS is co-owned by the British Council and IDP. The paper is set by Cambridge ESOL, and Cambridge ESOL submits the papers to IDP and the British Council, and that's how the examinations are taken. So there is no biases where saying that, yes, of course, British Council probably could be easier or IDP could be easier. The paper is automatically set by Cambridge ESOL. It's one of the most popular English language testing systems, that is the IELTS. And why do these countries require you to take an English language test? If you're wondering, most of the times what happens is when you're pursuing a qualification in countries abroad, these universities want to be confident you are well versed in the language, you can understand the course, you can you can intercept better, or you can you're able to kind of go through the curriculum better. So they want to be confident that yes, you are good in your language. Most of us have studied English, so in our education, the schooling has been completely in English. But irrespective of that, they do come back and ask you for an English language test for them to be confident that yes, you can cope up on the course. IDP is the sole distributor for IELTS in India. We recently took over the British Council, but yes, of course, we offer the academic IELTS, and this is available as a pen and paper examination and also a computer delivered examination. The pen and paper examination takes roughly 13 working days, and the computer-based examination takes 3 to 5 working days for your results to be out. We have testing centers available across India, and most of these testing centers are, they will also kind of give you the right kind of information as to what you need to do before you start the examination. If you want to know what an IELTS is, it has 4 different components. I'm just going to quickly run through this just so that you get to know. It's got 4 different components. It's reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Okay. Believe me, the reading and the writing are the 2 important elements of the IELTS examination. The speaking and the listening is something which totally depends on your frame of mind on the day of the examination. So you are going to be judged based on these 4 elements of the examination. So when you're doing a listening examination, there's going to be an audio tape which is played with people talking in different accents. It probably could be an English accent or an Australian accent or somebody who's talking in an American accent. You need to understand the conversation before you answer the questions which is provided to you in a sheet of paper. Okay, so each of these, their rating is 0 to 9, 9 being the highest, and the score point average will differ depending on the destinations, but a good band score would be a 6.5 to 7, which is acceptable by most of these countries abroad. Okay. There are a lot of countries which offer you scholarship opportunities also. So when I'm talking about scholarship opportunities, there are different kinds of scholarships. So academic scholarships based on academic merit. There are bursaries which is available. There's financial awards which is available. There are small grants which is available by the universities. Now scholarships again will totally depend on a few factors. So you need to be eligible for the particular course first of all. You need to make sure that you meet your scholarship deadline and submit the required documentation. Certain scholarship applications will also ask you for voluntary services if you've done any extracurricular you've done. So these are a few things they'll definitely require when you're submitting a scholarship application form. So these scholarship elements will vary depending on the destination, depending on the university and the course. There are countries which do offer you 50% to 100% scholarships on your tuition fees. There are government scholarships which is available, which are external scholarships, which cover your tuition fees and your living expenses and your airfare. So there are various scholarships available. So if you want to explore scholarships and then take it forward, sorting out your documentation and applying at least a year ahead makes more sense, because scholarships have early deadlines. So for a scholarship application form, first of all, you need to apply to the institution for the course. You need to be able to get an offer. The university has to make a decision on your application form. So only when you have an offer letter from the university, you can then prepare your scholarship application form. A few of these scholarships are automatic also. They automatically will be able to give you a scholarship for international students or Indian students per se, or they have a cutoff percentage. Anybody who's got a 75% and above will automatically get a scholarship. So there are different scholarship options available. And if there is a scholarship application, it's very, very important that you fill in the scholarship application based on the requirements as mentioned on the document. And these scholarship decisions usually will take at least 2 to 3 months after you've submitted your application form for a decision to be out. So they either send you a scholarship letter, which says that, yes, of course, you've been awarded a scholarship, or they will automatically, deduct your tuition fees in the on the online portal, which means that you only have to pay your balance tuition fees minus the scholarship. Just want to kind of touch base a little bit about the destinations which we represent, so that I can then talk to you about what are the courses offered in these destinations. So I start with Australia. 8 of the top 100 universities across the globe are Australian universities. So Australia is much more than the kangaroos. An increasing number of students are opting Australia as their study destination because of their world-class education. They have a post-study opportunity and they have an excellent quality of life. Australian qualifications are globally recognized because they are all distinguished by the Australian qualification framework, and they have very good links with the industry. Most of these courses offered in Australia are courses related to the industry and the needs of the industry. It's a very good study destination for you to explore. If you look at 7 of the best cities in the world are located in Australia. Most of these cities, of course, are, safe to live, safe to study. And the post-study work visa rights have increased for Australia as of now. So like I said, the PhD qualification right now will allow you to stay back in Australia for a period of 6 years. But if you're looking at, if you're looking at Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, the post-study work visa opportunities for a time frame of 3 years. And if you're looking at regional areas like Perth, Adelaide, Gold Coast, Wollongong, you can stay back in Australia on a post-study work visa for 4 years. So your qualification in Australia primarily is for a period of 2 years, and then you can stay back for an additional 3 years, 4 years, or 6 years in Australia. To become a legal practitioner of dentistry in Australia, you must first of all have a bachelor's degree in dentistry. As an international student, you need to clear this examination to pursue your master's courses in Australia. If you do not want to look at this option, then you either pursue courses in public health, health administration, hospitality administration, which could be for a period of 2 years. And you can look at exploring this examination or this registration and keeping yourself prepared so that you can clear this examination. Now, the dentistry assessment process is again a 3-part. There's an initial assessment, there's a written examination, and there is a practical examination. sorry, my system is stuck. Can you view the system right now? Can you view this?
Yes, yes.
This.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry, my system got stuck.
Okay.
So the dental assessment progress, again, like I said, there's an initial assessment which assesses your knowledge, judgment, and clinical skills, professional competence of overseas trained dentists seeking eligibility to apply for the registration with the Dental Board of Australia. Again, apart from the written examinations, there is also a practical examination, and this costs roughly 8,000 Australian dollars. Now, the written examination is designed to provide candidates an opportunity to demonstrate that they know how to practice dentistry, just giving that you do understand, you have the clinical judgment, reasoning skills. So that is what it all has. And the practical examination is a platform for candidates to, demonstrate their professional competence to perform safely in the role of a dentist. So that's how they actually assess the professional competency. And if you ask me, according to the income reports, a normal dentist in Australia will earn annually up to, 160,000 Australian dollars. So it's a good opportunity. But yes, of course, for Australia, if you're looking at, you need to clear the dental practitioner assessment to take it forward. The other destination I'm going to talk about is, of course, United States. It's called the land of opportunities. We all know that. It's a leading economy in the world with roughly 4,500 institutions. So US is like an ocean with the number of universities available, with the number of courses available, different flexibility of courses, interdisciplinary approach in the curriculum, varied options. The top universities across the globe are US universities. They offer you paid scholarships. They offer you financial aids for all international students. And most of these courses are, again, they emphasize on problem solving. So when you're looking at US as a study destination, yes, of course, with the kind of universities they have to offer, with the kind of financial aid and the scholarship they have to offer, it's a widespread option with respect to the destination. They offer you quite a lot of these scholarships also. When we're talking about scholarships, they have merit-based scholarships, they have need-based scholarships, and they have university course-specific scholarships. So when we're talking about merit-based scholarships, strictly based on academic merit, need-based scholarships will probably have to be something which you have to showcase that, yes, of course, there is a requirement, there is a need for the scholarship. And the course-specific scholarships will totally depend on the course and the university. And of course, external scholarships. So there are a lot of external organizations in the United States which offer scholarships for international students, which have to be explored at least a year ahead before you take it forward. So applying early is a key aspect, like I said, and most of these scholarships actually give you a good waiver on your application fee. They also give you a waiver on your tuition fees mostly, but otherwise, tuition fees and living expenses. Yes, of course, this is the total scholarship waiver for most of these institutions. The opportunities to, study, work, in USA. So basically, the doctor of dental surgery is definitely required. That's the qualification, and that is required for you to do get into the clinical practice in USA. So you need to clear your National Board of Dental Examination Part 1 and Part 2. And that's important for you to practice as a dentist in the United States. Otherwise, you can look at courses related to Masters in Public Health, or you can look at a Masters in Health Administration. These are the non-clinical courses. But for clinical courses, you need to clear the examination like Australia to take it forward. Now, this clinical examination is a Part 1 and a Part 2, which is, of course, again, a written examination and a practical examination like the other countries. So once you clear these examinations, yes, of course, you can pursue the qualification and also practice as a dentist in the United States. The third study destination I want to talk about is the United Kingdom, a small country in the northwestern side of Europe UK is definitely one of the prime locations and one of the top countries in Europe, which offers varied courses. A lot of times people do look at UK as a study destination because of the quality of education. The universities available in the United Kingdom mostly are funded by the UK government. So the quality is recognized. I mean, the universities are recognized across the globe. The education is accredited. The quality, the qualification is acceptable across any of these countries if you're looking at pursuing a higher qualification or looking at working. Okay, they offer varied specializations in different streams. The government also offers you a medical insurance as a part of their process flow. And each of these universities in the UK have a dedicated career service office. So when I'm talking about a dedicated career service office, a lot of you want to understand how you need to take it forward when you're looking at applying for jobs. So these universities in the UK have a career service office on campus, which guide you on the process as to what is the paperwork required, how you need to apply, what is the documentation required. So they assist you with those formalities. So that is, which is again, a support service offered by a lot of UK universities. But believe me, they have a centralized system of education, which means UK has 4 different countries: England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. So the education system is pretty much the same in all the 4 countries. And the degree is something which is for a duration of 12 months or 24 months, depending on the course. The government also offers you a post-study work visa for a period of 2 years, which allows you to stay back in the UK after having completed your course. So the post-study work visa, when I'm talking about, is an opportunity for you to stay back in the UK after having completed your master's to look out for opportunities to work. Now, study opportunities in the UK, you can explore clinical courses or non-clinical courses. Clinical courses, a few of these will require registrations with Clinical courses will require registrations. Non-clinical courses are courses related to dental material science. There's digital dental technology, there's oral health science, there's dental public health, there's dental informatics, a wide range of courses. Now, the non-clinical courses are all for a period of 12 months, but the clinical courses are for a period of 2 years. And you need to have a registration from the General Dental Council for a few of the clinical courses. Now, the clinical courses have other requirements too. So apart from your bachelor qualification, they require work experience. So when I'm talking about work experience, I'm talking about clinical work experience for a period of 2 years after having completed your qualification. So your internship experience will not work out. You'll have to have 2 years of post-qualification experience. English language is a mandate requirement. A band score of 7 is what they require. And they have a rigorous interview process when they're actually shortlisting candidates. So the seating capacity probably is going to be 10 to 12 per university. So that's the reason why they're very, very particular as to who they take onto the program. For you to practice as a dentist in UK, you need to clear your ORE examination. The ORE examination is for you to be registered as a dentist with the General Dental Council. It'll also allow you to practice dentistry unsupervised in the UK. A candidate is expected to be able to show competence, knowledge, and familiarity in different aspects of dentistry. So you can take 4 attempts of each part of the ORE. So the ORE has got part 1 and part 2. The ORE examination, the part 2 will have to be cleared within the first 5 years of clearing the part 1. Okay, and the part 2 is for you to demonstrate your clinical skills. So your practical clinical skills will have to be demonstrated. Clinical experience is a requirement. So you need, when you're applying for an ORE examination, you need to have at least 1600 hours of clinical experience where you've personally treated patients on the dental chair. And during the course, the post-qualification, yes, of course, apart from all this, the IELTS is also a mandatory requirement. So work experience, yes, required. IELTS is definitely required. This is also something which you do part 1, part 2 to clear it up. And after this is when you can actually practice as a dentist in the United Kingdom. Coming to the next study destination, Canada. Yes, of course, one of the biggest countries with, almost 10 provinces and 3 territories. When you look at how the landscape of Canada has got a lot of, lot of greenery, and the destination has a lot to offer for international students. Education is the government's priority. Again, they want to recruit, or they want to take in as much as international students. And also it's definitely ranked one of the best countries, one of the peaceful countries across the globe. The opportunities to work, the employment opportunities are tremendous in Canada, with a lot of, there is a high possibility for you to apply for your PR. So a lot of people look at Canada as a study destination because, yes, of course, compared to other destinations, Canada has a higher success rate with, getting a PR once you've settled in Canada for a period of 2 to 3 years. It's a budgeted study destination. So when you're looking at the cost of the course, when you're looking at the living expenses, it's a cost-effective study destination, I would say. And Canada offers excellent healthcare services. Okay, they've actually welcomed approximately 15 million immigrants over the last decade. Okay, and the government actually has laws to protect the rights of the citizens. So they're very, very particular about, how they treat their citizens. So that's very, very, that's also one of the reasons why, yes, of course, there are a few provinces in Canada which is not very populated. So that's the reasons why they want international students to come on to qualification, so that once they've completed their course, they can then be absorbed by jobs there, because there is a huge scarcity. So the visa requirements are very, very easy, and it's a very student-friendly study destinations. Yes, you are allowed to stay back in Canada for a period of 2 years after having completed your course. And there are a lot of institutions, a lot of colleges in Canada which offers varied courses which you can explore, which I'm going to tell you in the next couple of slides. So if you've completed your Bachelor of Dental, in India, then you want to become a dentist in Canada. Yes, of course, it's the same examination like how you pursue in the United States. You need to complete your National Dental Examination Board. And this is another examination. Excuse me. So like I said, this is, there are 2 parts of this examination. And for you as an international student, IELTS is also one of the mandatory requirements. And this examination takes about 2 years to complete, and is going to cost you quite a bit. Passing this examination, for that matter, will allow you to then work even in the United States, of course, it's Canada, and then of course New Zealand. New Zealand accepts the NDBE. So that examination is another qualifying examination for all these 3 countries. The clinical courses you can look at in Canada are, courses, or you can look at an MSc in pediatric dentistry, or you're looking at an MSc in prosthodontics, or you're looking at an MSc in orthodontics, or, oral biology. These are a few courses that clinical. When you're looking at non-clinical courses are offered by colleges in Canada. Now, colleges, when I'm talking about, these are colleges, universities offer a range of courses in all streams. Colleges only cater to certain of these courses. They might only offer you courses related to business, health science, medicine, or engineering. So they cater to only a couple of courses, maybe 50 to 60 courses only, where universities cater to almost 300 plus courses. That's the difference between a college and a university. So when you're looking at the graduate certificate program, or the Ontario College Certificate Program, these are the courses you can look at, which could be for a duration only for 12 months. And in that time frame, you can look at clearing your NDEB, and then making sure that you can then practice there as a dentist in that study destination. So the master's degree probably is going to cost you roughly, 40,000 Canadian dollars. But when you're looking at these diplomas, they probably are going to cost you only, 15 to 20,000 Canadian dollars. So it's definitely a budgeted choice when you're looking at Canada. And the living expenses in Canada is only 10,000 Canadian dollars, which is roughly 5.5 lakh rupees. So like I said, it's a decent study destination when you're exploring these choices to study abroad. We have a lot of events which is round the corner. So if you want to meet university representatives on a face-to-face platform to inquire about these courses they have to offer, to inquire about these qualifications, recognition, accommodation, scholarships, we have the Australian event, which is round the corner on the 3rd of April. Likewise, if you're looking at Canada and the United Kingdom, we have these events which is scheduled on 23rd of April for Canada and then 15th of May for UK. So like I said, these are face-to-face events. You get to meet the university representatives and get your doubts clarified then and there. I'm sure the college will be shared details about these events, which is going to be scheduled. So as a student, if you're interested in participating in any of these events, you can also go to our idp.com website, and these events are going to be available and you can register for these events. And you will automatically get emailers or messages closer to the dates of the event about the schedule and what you need to do and what you need to carry before you actually attend the event. So I am pretty much done from my side, just giving you a little bit of tidbits and information. Thank you so much for listening to me. And I really hope the information was useful. I know I did kind of talk a little bit about each of these aspects in these countries. I'm sure you have a lot of questions to ask. We have a physical office, which is in Chennai. We have an office in Nungambakkam and Adyar. So if you would like to visit any of our physical offices to meet the counselor, to get more in-depth information about the courses, about the universities, what are the scholarship opportunities available, we are open. Yes, of course, we expect you to be vaccinated. But yes, of course, the offices are open Monday to Saturday, 9 to 5. So you can visit our office, meet a counselor and get your get your questions answered. But at this point, if you have any questions right now, I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Mrs. Shetty, can you stop sharing the screen?
Yeah. Yes, done so.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a wonderful presentation. I hope that most of the students who were present here would have benefited by your presentation. And in fact, I would like to place a special mention about the guidance and the support that you deliver for the students when they come for the admissions in various universities and colleges. I just want to, we have few questions to begin with.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. There's a question asking that one of the students have called up IDP center a few days back, and they have said that they are not guiding dental students. Is that so?
So basically, depends on the study destination, sir. Like for example, Australia, the master's courses we don't cater to if it's a clinical course, because for clinical courses you need to have a registration. Likewise, for the US, for clinical courses you need to have a registration. So depending on the study destination and her preference, yes, of course, we then guide the student. So if the student is, if Suchitra was specifically asking about a study destination, at least we will then let her know the prerequisites for that study destination before giving her the answer. Suchitra, that was totally not, something which we would have done. But if you can definitely contact us or definitely contact me, I'll at least let you know what are the prerequisites for all these destinations, and then you can then make a choice for yourself if you want to look at a clinical course or a non-clinical course.
And the second question about scholarship, I think you have elaborated quite well. We'll go to the next question. Is it necessary to have 2-year experience in dental clinic to apply for non-clinical master course in UK?
Non-clinical courses do not require work experience. Only the clinical courses require work experience. So any
Right after,
country. Yeah.
right after their
Yes. Require work experience for non-clinical courses. Clinical courses, Kingdom will require work experience.
and few other questions. The difference between getting an admission in a college or in a university. In college, is it worth university?
If you ask me, no, sir, totally depends on the student's perspective. Canada is completely an immigration country. A lot of them have different aspirations as to why they have chosen Canada as a study destination. Like I have students who walk into me and say that I am looking at Canada only because I want to migrate to the study destination. So you can give me any particular course or university. Okay, if you are very clear that you're looking at a particular course and this is what you're looking at as a career progression for yourself, then choosing the right course is important. A college or a university does not make a huge difference as long as the course is the right choice.
How long will it take to receive post-study work permit after completion of the course?
So it's an automatic extension. So when you've applied each of these study destinations, like for example, if it's a 12 months course, your visas, student visas are normally stamped for an additional 3 to 4 months, depending on each country. Okay. So in that time frame, once your visa is almost in the verge of expiring, you apply for that extension visa and it takes like 2 weeks time, or it takes at least a month's time for you to get that extension. And you can apply for this extension in the destination country itself. You don't have to come to your home country you don't have to come to India to apply for this extension.
We have GIC, which is the material that we use for filling the teeth. Is GIC must, that is the guaranteed investment certificate?
Canada, yes, that's one of the visa rules for Canada, sir. So Canada is the only study destination which actually asks the living expenses to be transferred to the account. So that's one of their mandate rules. None of the other countries have this requirement. It's only for Canada. But yes, that's a visa rule.
Because most of my students, around 5 of them, last 1 to 1.5 years they have got admission. And most of them have got admission in Fanshawe College. Okay. The next is, will qualifying ACFD can directly allow students to join clinical courses in Canada?
Canada, I'm a little unsure about that particular qualification, sir, because I don't cater to, but I can park this question and I can come back to you on the answer to that. Because I primarily don't deal with Canada and the institutions. I might not be the best person to answer that question, but I'm going to take down that question and I'm going to come back to you with an answer, sir, on that. Can I request you to repeat that for me, please?
Yes. Will qualifying ACFD can directly allow students to join clinical courses?
Fine, sir. I'll come back to you on that, sir.
Yeah, sure. That brings to the end of this question answer session. And I thanks a lot, and convey my regards to Mr. Rajesh and Ms. Akshay as well.
Right. Sir, I have a few questions here, which is all, I don't know, open questions.
There are a couple of questions in the question answer.
Okay. Now we have got few other questions. One second.
There's a question. Can I get an admit into a non-clinical master's with a 65% in bachelor's? Yes, you can. The eligibility criteria is anywhere between 60% to 70%. Yes, you can get in. Non-clinical courses in the UK do not have any other examination except for the English language score. So UK comparatively as a study destination does not require English language as a mandate requirement for the visas, which means if the universities are happy to accept your application without your IELTS or your TOEFL score, you do not require to submit that for your student visa. They accept your English score in your standard 12 if that has been a CBSE. A few institutions also accept state board. So if that's acceptable, you do not need to take an English language test. Right? And
Yeah.
I think I've answered those.
Let's do a few more questions. One anonymous attendee wanted to know that to pursue branches such as endodontics, orthodontics, etc., doesn't require a dual degree in countries like USA and Canada, such as BDS and MBBS. Does it require?
No, sir, it does not require.
Okay. And
certain, so then basically what happens is certain universities have prerequisites. So when you're looking at courses like oral or maxillofacial surgery, certain courses have prerequisites. On a normal circumstance, they do not require a dual degree. Certain universities have certain prerequisites, so it depends on the university. So if you can come back to me with the universities, then I can then guide you with that. So if you are already in touch with somebody as a counselor, please do let us know. So, or what you probably can do is I can share my contact. Is it okay for me to share my contact details on the chat box?
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that in the chat box. Also, the same person wants to know that to pursue oral and maxillofacial surgery after BDS requires a dual degree, even if we clear the licensure exam. Can you guide us a little bit on that?
That's what, they do not require a dual degree on a normal circumstance, but if the university has a specific prerequisite, then yes, of course, he then has to do it. So not dual degree. Ma'am, I've just put it on the... Sorry.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Is there any exam required to get admission for non-clinical courses?
No, sir. That's what I said. So no exams required. No exams required. It's only the IELTS which could be asked for, but otherwise it's not required.
So I think we have completed all the questions. We had many questions for the session.
If I want to pursue master, improve profile is definitely a mandate, because when you're looking at you know, the examinations, like for example, they want to also look at any voluntary service that you have done, any internships which you have done. So if you can add all that to your profile, that kind of strengthens your application when you're applying for your registration process. So that's the answer to Aditya's question. Aditi's question. I'm so sorry. Aditi's question.
I think we can wind up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. We can wind up here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir. And it was a wonderful time. And usually we do get to do this quite a lot of time face to face. It's been sometimes since we've done this virtual, but thanks for the opportunity and thanks for taking the time. And to all the students, have a happy weekend.
I think you can conclude, ma'am.
Yes. Bye.
And thank you so much, Ranjitha, for that wonderful presentation and insight into what all is required if a student has to pursue their studies abroad. It was really wonderful hearing you, and I'm sure you will get many students contacting you in the coming weeks. So as a token of appreciation from us, a certificate to you for such a lovely lecture, and to Dr. Rajkumar for his moderation. Thank you both.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
You too, sir. Bye, sir.